Welcome back to the channel. Today is part one of the cheap Turbo FE build. We're starting out using a 360 block that I bought off of Facebook Marketplace. It's a 40 over 352 with hyperutectic pistons, which are new. Everything was pretty much all brand new. Something happened, don't know what. I think a cam failure in the block. The heads that came with it looked like they had either a bent valve or a stuck valve. Anyway, 200 bucks for the whole thing. Pretty good deal, even though it is a 360. A lot of guys just throw these away, but they're good platforms. The block is about as dirty and as grimy as they get. I did some oil passage cleanups just to massage the return there. Did the oil passage modification that I did in a YouTube short a little while ago. Opened the passageway up to get better oil flow. And especially since we're going to be putting a turbo on this thing, I'm going to use a high pressure oil pump to create a nice cushion between the crankshaft and the bearings to kind of give it a little bit more support under boost. So I like the idea of opening that oil passageway up. This engine came with the 360 rods. They're the same as like an early 352 rod. A real thin beam. What we're going to do, it's a little unorthodox. We're going to use the 390 rods and a 390 crankshaft that I have that's ready to go. Again, I got that for $0. And we're going to create, basically it's going to be a 398 cubic inch engine with the pistons about 40 down in the hole after I square the decks on the block. You can see the difference in the rods between the 360 rod right here and this 390 rod. The beams are considerably thicker with the 390 rod and just gave me a better feel for it to be able to hold up under some boost. And along with that, we're going to be using ARP rod bolts. So we're going to put those rod bolts in the 390 rods, resize them, and balance the whole rotating assembly. Also going to use ARP main cap bolts and head bolts. I don't think I'll need to use studs in this. It's not a big boost application. I do like the idea of the extra security of the ARP fasteners. Right now I'm going to get ready to get this engine block off to the machine shop. Can't tell you how hard it is to find a machine shop just to be able to do simple things anymore on engine builds. This isn't going to be anything fancy, just going to be a decent build, but you either have the extremes of some guy just wanting to cut flywheels and not do any engine machine work, or you have a full-on race machine shops. The small guys are really dwindling, which makes it real hard. Nobody wants to fix anything anymore. What I'm going to do is take the main bolts, for the ARP main bolts, put them in the main caps, and then when they have it at the machine shop, cooking it, cleaning it, putting fresh cam bearings in, I'd have them do a line hone to make sure everything lines up nice and my bearing clearances will be proper. You can see the engine, I've already stripped it down. All the cam plugs, oil galley plugs, all that stuff, everything's out of it. Should make the machine shop's job a little bit easier. And then when I get it back, I'm going to do a partial block fill up to the water pump holes. Basically, I'm going to fill the whole void with hard block up to the bottom of the water pump hole to kind of give the block some more stability down low and help with the ring seal. Always good to double check the bore taper since I'm not getting this thing bored. I'm just going to do a hand hone with the old dingle ball hole hone, and then new rings on the old pistons. Not a fancy build at all, but just wanted to make sure the taper was good, which it is. The camshaft was again more junk I have laying around. Originally from a 390 or a 406 hypo engine with solid lifter. It's what's called the A-B cam, an upside down A with a B. The cam specs are identical to a later 427 low riser engine, the only exception being that there are no oil grooves on the second and fourth journal. As you can see, it's all pretty much low buck. I use a lot of the stuff that I've had laying around, along with some stuff that I purchased off of Facebook Marketplace, such as that block I showed you earlier. The cylinder heads, which are the factory 427 low riser heads from 1963. They were bought in a package deal with a bunch of other parts for 400 bucks. Sold off some of the other parts and basically have gotten those heads for free. Like I said, low buck. Pretty much anybody can do this thing. You can even get those turbos, the T6 turbo. It's a 76 millimeter compressor side and the 92 millimeter hot side. These are now available as Chinese knockoffs on eBay for like 300 bucks, maybe $4. This is a Borg, original Borg Warner turbo, so it's a little more expensive than that. But they can be bought pretty cheap now. And this is the setup in the car. You can see it's real simple. Using factory passenger car cast iron log style exhaust manifolds going into 2 1/4 inch pipe up into the turbo. Same deal on this side. Factory log style manifolds, 2 1/4 into the turbo. Now you're maybe wondering, where's the intercooler? Not going to need one. It's a blow through carb, and we'll be running this thing on pump E85. I won't get into the explanations of it. Plenty of stuff on YouTube on how that works out, but basically the fuel coming through the carburetor cools the ambient air from the turbo, and without having the need of an intercooler. Works out pretty slick. Be a 4-inch pipe going out the side, exit, and it will exit down there behind the tire. Real simple. Real basic. One thing to note, there will be waste gates put on this side and this side to control each side of the pipes. And they will come up straight up to follow the flow of the exhaust. That'll be the last thing I need to plumb into there to make the whole system work. Once again, thanks for watching, and don't forget to follow along on this build as it progresses. It's going to take a little bit of time. It's going to be fill-in work in between all the other stuff I got going on in the shop, but we're going to start making progress, and if all goes well, this car will be out at the track this year.